All right. We're live.
Nice.
So now what I'm going to do, as we're getting started, I'm going to copy this link and share it with the masses. All right.
Oh, yes.
So let me just share this here. So in the meantime, tell us what's going on.
All good. I mean, it had been a busy day. I had a couple of meetings to do, and besides that, just made some lasagna right before coming to do this, and obviously went out to the store, came back, quickly did that, went to shower. Now I'm right here with my nice gin tonic.
Yeah, I got a tea.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's like 7:15 in the year, so it's time for a nice gin tonic.
Hey, it's the best thing you can do during quarantine.
That too, and considering the factor that you know we are on today's Saturday, so why not?
All right. Just posting those links.
Leo.
And then we should be able to. All right. I believe I tagged you in one of those. So
Great.
Yeah. So we're good to go. All right.
Reshare it as well.
All right. I'm gonna move this over here so I can see us and also see the live stream chat. A few people already on the chat. There's an echo. Oh, Sal was saying there's an echo. A bunch of people saying there's an echo. I don't hear an echo.
Any better now?
Here, let me decrease the volume. Is it better now? I don't know. I don't hear an echo. Do you hear an echo?
I don't. I mean, it's clear for me.
Don't go. What do you mean don't go?
Yeah, don't go where?
I don't know. Laureline just said don't go.
Yeah, a really bad one. Where? What?
The sound goes out twice. The sound goes out twice. Okay.
Now it is. Okay,
now it's good. Okay. Yeah, I just decreased the volume on the controller, on the streaming controllers. They were all the way up to the maximum, so I just lowered it. Okay, it's good now.
So,
all right. So
if I increase my volume from the
don't touch anything. Don't touch your volume. Don't touch your glass. Don't touch your face. It's very important. We can't touch our face. Okay, now it's good. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the update. Now I know. It's our first time doing a stream on YouTube. We've done streams before. And by the way, Salo, we got to do this with you very soon. So this was just a trial run with my brother Asim here, so we can work out all the kinks. But we're going to be doing this throughout the quarantine. And I'm using a different software. I'm using Skype. I'm using all these things. So we're just kind of going for a beta run here and seeing how it goes. So the volume was all the way in the maximum. Now I lowered it down. So, by the way, Asim, your house looks amazing, man. Who's your decorator?
That is my lady.
Oh, my lady.
Exactly. Ooh. So she does it. I just hang around and do my things, you know.
Are you guys keeping social distancing?
Yeah, she's in the bedroom, so that's good.
All right. So let's talk about you. I mean, let's just chat about whatever. Is there anything you want to start off with? Let's start off with how you're keeping yourself coiffed during this quarantine. Like, how are you trimming your beard? Because I'm struggling. Like, I can't go to the barber shop. Like,
frankly speaking, definitely. I mean, like, I don't do that as well. I have not gone to a barber shop for a beard trimming ever. So what I do, I just self-maintain, and it's been a while that I did not do anything with it. So I basically pluck. I just, try to find out the dead ones and just keep on. It's just magic, and it goes on the floor.
That seems pretty easy. That seems pretty easy. And I see you wearing your Vakken 2018 T-shirt. There will be no Vakken 2020, unfortunately.
Apparently not. So
are you surprised that the summer festivals are just canceling one after the other?
No, I'm definitely not surprised, but it's what it is. I mean, it's for the best for basically everybody, so that even 2021 we could do something eventually. And I think it's time. If we look at it in a positive way, it's time for everybody to reflect on their lifestyle and reflect on everything that's going around. So I think it just gives you more time to really start focusing on the real things instead of going with full guns, like full pace towards something. Now it's time to settle down, stop at the gas station, grab some coffee, and try to,
Dude,
get a fresh.
I'm not even doing that. I barely leave the house. Like I'm freaking like I'm OCD about this virus. Like when Diane sneezes, I grab Lysol and I spray her.
Right. Well, what I meant was with life, that people have been going on so fast with the life, like in a way that, now it's time to, there's a limit to the tank in the car as well. So you got to fill it up again. So I think this is the time for everything around to fill up again and just go on. And so this is one way to see this. The other way is that it's complete shit. People are dying and, things have happened and this and that. Whoever did it or whatever the thing was, it's no point in discussing that. But the fact is that this thing is here. So.
Oh yeah, this thing is here, and I think it's going to be here for a while. I don't honestly see this this changing or going anywhere anytime soon.
Correct. That's the unfortunate thing. So what we can do is, try to be as cautious as possible, and just if you are not cautious, at least be cautious for the other people. So to have a little bit of sympathy towards the world as well. That's what I would say.
I agree with you. I think we have to take this as an opportunity to just stop a little bit, reevaluating everything that we're doing, and then perhaps change a little bit of our ways as we move forward.
Yeah, correct. The only thing that I feel that the humanity, as stupid as it is, unfortunately, that things might get back on track as they were in some time. Which is the cycle of life. I mean, it goes around and around and around. So, but like the point.
The other thing that goes around and around and around is the refreshing on YouTube, and it's a pain in the ass. I think there's sometimes a little bit of problems with the refreshing, but that's one of the issues when you're doing a live stream. Sometimes you have to, if you guys are having problems, just reload the page. Sometimes there's some issues with the feed, and depending on how many people are on, depending on what is happening, there's could always be some issues. Yeah, I hear you, man. I think this for me wasn't a surprise. I kind of saw this coming earlier in the year when we saw everything else that was happening around the world. So it's not super surprising that the world is in a standstill. But it's tough for musicians. I mean, you guys, without touring, it really limits what you can do.
Precisely. I mean, luckily from our side, like Wintersun, we have not we're not going to do any shows in 2020 besides the one we did in 70,000 Tons of Metal early in January. So we were kind of okay throughout the year in that sense. But then again, when you think about the bands which have been on tours and they had to cancel the tours, or the tours were about to start, and a couple of bands which were going to make the world tour start from this time, that is a major hit. And as I think the biggest hit probably is coming towards the hospitality industry, entertainment industry involved in it. So yeah. I think the biggest.
I was going to ask you, if you were in a band that's releasing an album now, do you think it's a good idea to go ahead and just release the album anyways, or would you be more willing to push the record and get it released at a later date? What do you think makes more financial sense right now for bands?
Financial sense for a band right now, I think it's gonna be a complete 360, 180 turn basically. So why I would say that is because financially everybody is kind of like screwed at the moment. There's no question about it. But if you just have to change your business module now. That's pretty much it. So you got to just adapt to the new ways of doing things instead of like the way you did it 20 years ago, or you kept on doing it. Of course, there's a certain time that after that, the technology takes over. And, nowadays these live stream gigs are happening and so on. So that's another way of generating revenue and so on. But it's just a new wave. So I wouldn't say that, just because of this, stop the release of the album and do it in 2021, because eventually that's going to be 90% of the people what they would be doing. So there would be a lot of clutter in 2021, and everybody's going to be doing everything. So that's going to be a busy year for many people, of course, getting back on track, trying to do everything possible to, try to settle scores with their income and whatnot. But it will be a difficult time in that sense. So the thing that could see the day of light in normal time, which could have been like this year if the pandemic wouldn't have happened, next year might be a difficult year for the newcomers anyways. And I feel sorry for the people who really were about to release their debut albums. And you just gotta work your way around with the new waves.
I think you were almost forced. Somebody's saying good evening. Hope you all are doing okay. Yes, we are. Good evening to you too. For me, it's still good morning. For Asim, I think it's good afternoon. But good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Yeah, I think if you're releasing an album now, if you're a band releasing an album now, you almost have to know that you're gonna have to put another record out probably by mid next year in order to hit the road again, because a year has gone by, you haven't been able to tour. You're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I think the business module, in that, if we see it completely from a business perspective, I think it would be completely changing the course of how the entertainment industry worked before. Because now the adaptation of the internet would have to play, the digital world have to play a major role. So being on the road is, of course, has always been the case. I don't think that any band should be a band without being on the road. There's no question about it. But you got to come to terms as well that now, as the digital world and the digital industry of the business has taken over so much, you just got to adapt to it as well. So you got to go into the zone of hybrid events, so to speak. Just the other day, I was talking with our lighting technician, and he works for a big firm in Finland as well. So they are doing the same things. Their corporate events and so on nowadays just are live streaming, and that's the new wave. I mean, a lot of people are not still buying it because it's still the same thing for the people considering the fact what the hell is this? But this is how it is. There were days that we did not know what TV was, and now we have smart TVs. Mm-hmm. There were days that we looked down upon something, having something in our hands and being able to access the world or do something with it even. And now we are able to live stream things with that. So time after time, the technology will take over, but we just got to adapt to it.
Yeah, and I think perhaps even some of the way things are going to, because let's face it, concerts right now and live shows is probably the least of the worries of the governments, and when you think about bringing the economy back. So I think even the way things are going to be set back are going to take some time. I can see things being done in a gradual way. You're probably not going to see live shows, or at least big festivals for sure, until the summer of 2021 at best.
There is a slight chance of that, yes.
Yeah. You think this will change the way as we evolve? Oh, by the way, Laureline is asking about Antonio. Antonio just got up. He was playing video games until 4:00 in the morning. He just got up and he went downstairs to the basement to play more video games. So that's that. I have to cut his hair today, by the way. I think I'm going to actually videotape me cutting his hair. Not like his hair, but like trimming underneath. And Yeah, he went to bed. Sorry. There's somebody who's asking. So I was just saying he went to bed at 3:30 a.m. and he got up at 12:30. Now, like 12:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, and he went back to play more video games. He's playing FIFA. If you guys want to play FIFA with him, I can always get his handle and share it on the channel, and you guys can tag him and add him and play FIFA with him online and stuff like that. Yeah, he's got quarantine hair, so like basically he shaves his head underneath, right? And the hair underneath is grown now. It looks really weird. So the one on top starting to like balloon out. It looks strange. So we're gonna put it in a bun today, and I'm gonna shave it. I figure if something goes wrong, we're not leaving the house anyway, so who cares?
There's time to recover.
Exactly. And we're thinking of videotaping and then putting it up. We'll see how that goes. Should be entertaining.
That's what I'm trying to do. Full on, like, let it grow. Well, of course, I've been doing it for a while now, but like absolutely letting it grow because, well, as if nobody's going to see me at the moment, else than the whole world on live stream, right? So,
but I don't know if you saw the guys from the World Health Organization. They said that having a beard is actually it could cause you. It makes it easier for you to catch the virus because you have facial hair and you tend to touch your face more often. I said, you know what? You can take my life, but you're not taking my beard. So this is where I'm drawing the line.
Right.
I'm drawing the line in the sand. Yes, he loves. People are talking about FIFA. Wow, so many people are selling possessions because they can't afford groceries. I think entertainment is low on the checklist. Exactly. That's exactly what we were talking about. I think entertainment is really low on the checklist, and I think even once the venues are open, and even when bands start to tour again, and even when we have the vaccine and all of that stuff, how many people are going to be able to afford the disposable income to go to the shows and to buy merch and all of this stuff? I mean, we're going to be in a recession.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people are being laid off from their jobs as well. They have to just think about the coming up months that nobody's going to be, well, not nobody, but like certain people, certain like diehard fans who were already living hand to mouth, but still like, going across the countries.
Hand to mouth sounds like something to do with porn, but anyways.
Well, they do that too, and they make good living.
Actually, Asim, Antonio had a great idea this week. He said that why don't we start a channel where we do reactions to clips from Pornhub, and we can monetize that channel on Pornhub, so people would come to watch the two of us watch Pornhub clips, and then not only do a reaction to it, but then do a review of what we thought of the scene, like the acting, like the camera angles, the cinematography.
Perfect idea. Sure.
Would you be down? Maybe me and you.
Oh, so for me?
Well, I'm thinking Antonio is a minor, right? So I don't know how that would.
Oh yeah, right.
I don't know how that's going to work, like from a legal perspective. I don't want to be accused of child pornography, right?
I think this is the right time to do it. There's nothing better to do for us, so I mean, I'm down for it.
So I think we should look into that. I'll open up a Pornhub or a UJizz. Or a porn jizz, whatever those websites are. I don't frequent, but I hear from other people who do frequent. So I'll open an account for the two of us, and then what we'll do is we'll watch clips, like 5-minute clips, and then we'll
assess it.
We'll discuss it. Like the camera angles, the soundtrack, the acting, all of the important stuff that goes with porn.
You just got me with the soundtrack thing. That's going to be like really interesting because you never think about the soundtrack being
it's like, important.
Exactly.
Have you ever tried to watch porn with no sound? You can't. I bet you right now you can't.
It depends on the desperate times.
Trust me, I tried. I can't. Dude, I cannot. Even if the clip is 5 minutes, I cannot watch it without the sound. It just seems so awkward. It really seems very strange and very awkward. I cannot do it. I have to have the sound at least like background noise. Like I have to have a little bit.
Right.
Just a tip. Just a tip.
Right. Have you ever come across that? If you do put the sound on, and all of a sudden there's a fucking weird song going behind it.
Oh, I know what you're saying. So yeah,
That's like
that's
that
as bad as no
literally.
sound.
Well, okay. Well, hey, Pedro, let's not reveal too much, man.
No,
And
honestly, we're not.
This is a discussion for our channel.
And we're not
We're
judging.
giving out to. Huh?
And we're not judging.
No, absolutely not.
It's imagine the. I don't know if you, when you were a kid, if you used to watch Benny Hill, you know, the comedy sketches. Was a British guy, Benny Hill? No, doesn't ring a bell.
Hill, I've heard the name probably.
Imagine a comedy sketch when they have the music in the background. They go, you know that kind of music.
Right.
So imagine that in the background of a porno. It just doesn't work.
Put on an Indian song behind it. Like, think about it.
Some Bollywood track.
Well, it could. Hey, this is something we need to discover. There could be a possibility that this might be existing and we don't know about it.
Oh, somebody said I only watch porn because I want to listen to those soundtracks.
I'm not gonna lie. Some bloody years ago, I can't even recall. Like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, there were specific song. I'm not shitting. I had to Google it out. I remembered the lyrics and stuff like that. I had to watch that video 5-6 times to really try to find out which song it is. And it's sitting somewhere in my Spotify list somewhere, if I remember it correctly.
Dude, somebody just posted a sitar on a porn soundtrack. I think that could work, actually.
Why not? It could be a sitar track.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good name.
You know, I'll tell you one thing. If the we couldn't probably, I don't think we could use any prog tracks from like Opeth or something like that. Not because of copyright, just because they're too damn long. Nobody's going to last 15 minutes.
I mean, a music video could be made out of it. You never know.
Yeah, I think it would be tough. But I honestly think that it would be hard. I think we're hitting something here. I think we need to take this offline so nobody else steals our idea. And I think Asim and Pedro, porn reviews, it's going to be a thing of the future, I think.
Correct. It could not get any better. It just could not get any better.
I don't know. And then the next evolution is, next thing we know, we're going to be invited to go to the award shows, to the adult-only award shows, the AOV shows. You know what I mean? We're going to presenting Best Blowjob 2020, you know, like things like that. Like, we'd be rock stars, minus the rock, plus the porn.
Yeah. I mean, who would mind that? Is there somebody who minds it?
Well, I'm sure there's people who would mind it. My wife and your girlfriend probably be two at least that I can think of right away that would mind. But, hey.
Well, hey, we're going to be bringing a lot of money and a story.
That's true. We would be making a lot of money. So
it's not like that we are involved in the act, but
no. We're just there just for the commentating. I mean, to be honest with you, I watch it only for the acting.
And me on the soundtrack, so you know. It's all about that, man.
Salo has a question for you, Asim. He says, can you ask Asim about Damnation Plan, Cantilena, True Cult Club, Wintersun album situation? I don't think you missed any band.
Right, he went on.
So Damnation Plan, let's start with Damnation Plan, since I'm wearing the shirt.
The album, absolutely we are. And as we speak, we have been getting through the mixing section at the moment. So we are trying out certain people that we think are probably the candidates for mixing the upcoming album. And we have been working on it. I think we will be ready by sometime at the end of summer with the album. So let's see how we're gonna release it. We don't know. So, you know, because the record labels and everything, the whole industry has shifted now. And I don't know. We'll see about it. afterwards. But like, I'm pretty certain that hopefully by this year, we might pull something off. But if not, then earlier next year.
And what about Cantilena? Because you guys released a video.
I think with that, I have to wait a little bit more, because my idea was that probably by this summer I might go to Estonia and do. We might sit down and do a writing session and all that kind of stuff. Because for Cantilena stuff, I really write things faster. Even though I haven't made the songs with Cantilena that we have released lately. There was only one single that we released at the time when my shoulder broke. So, things changed with that as well. And the video that is released is exactly the day that my shoulder was broken. So I was doing you remember it very well. I called you when I was going to...
Yeah, you were traveling to Estonia.
Right. And so with Cantilena's situation is a little bit tough at the moment. Not that it's, people might say like, hey, what an excuse, because everybody is doing the online things from here and there and this and that. Well, that is that kind of a band that it has a very old school style to it, old school vibe to it. And I would like to keep it that way as well. So I sit down with my bandmates and we do something together instead of just like, hey, I made up this riff. Let's do a Lego. Let's Minecraft things and let's do something. So that's an old school kind of a style band venture that I want to keep it that way. So that's why very raw sounding and everything very, very, old school. So that's going to take a little bit of time now. Probably by the end of the year, we might be able to sit down and do some things. Regarding True Cult Club, yes, everything got on halt because there were plans coming up, and boom, this thing happened. So things are a little bit tightened up with that, though we have some plans that we're going to release hopefully in some time soon. So True Cult Club's situation is like this at the moment. And regarding Wintersun, yes, we have taken the 2020 off, and we are working on the new material and, of course, working on different things to...
Any possibility with Wintersun that my idea that I put forward could come to fruition, which is Wintersun releasing Time 2, and it's a version of Time 1, but with Yachty gargling the songs from Time 1?
I read it somewhere. I think you wrote somewhere, and I read it, and I was laughing my ass off. That is interesting idea. Not sure that if it is something that that we would like to deliver to the audience.
I have a feeling that if the band put it out, people would still buy it.
Well, hard to say. That'd be nice of them, though.
I think. But
our direction of the band would change so much. Sorry. I mean, like the direction of the band would change so much that I don't know if we would
ever come back from that.
Yeah, that's a very bold. That's a very, very bold move.
Yeah, it's like going from melodic death metal. Yeah, it's going from melodic death metal to like industrial.
Completely. So it's gonna be like, what happened to the band? So it's gonna be very tough,
By the way, somebody's asking if we can speak Spanish.
See.
My Spanish is really limited. I mean, I can read, I understand, but I can't really speak fluent Spanish. Very limited. My Spanish is very rusty and very limited. So I don't think we could have this conversation in Spanish.
It would be very difficult.
Yeah, it would be very difficult.
Everybody knows some words of Spanish, right? So that's...
Well, you can say cerveza.
Why not? Yes, why not?
Yeah. Loreline saying she wants Joe Exotic cover on Time 2. You know who Joe Exotic is?
Yeah, it took me a little while. Yes, I've seen the Netflix series, and it took me a little while. I'm like, what? Which song is that? Man, that guy can sing. He has good songs.
No, but that's not him singing.
What?
No, it's not him singing. He just lip sings the songs. They have somebody else doing the singing. That's actually not him singing.
Oh, that's a disappointment. I was so happy for that guy. I was like, at least he's got a voice.
No, it's not him. He's Milli Vanilli the whole thing.
Holy Jesus, Bazingus Bungus, I don't know what to call. Like, what the
I
hell?
thought the same thing as you, because when I saw the Netflix series and I see him singing, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not into country, but the guy doesn't have a bad voice. You know what I mean? And then I found out later, because I made a comment about, well, at least the guy can sing, and then somebody told me, no, that's not him singing. And then later on, I think there's an episode where they talk about it. I think it's the new one that just came out, like, you know, like the behind the scenes thing, and it's not him singing. He does some vocal pieces within the song, maybe some choruses, maybe some backing vocals, whatever, but it's not him singing.
Oh man, that's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Yeah, see, even Laureline knows. She said that it's a country band that he commissioned to do the songs and then released them without their permission. That's very Joe Exotic, by the way.
Yeah, that's very. That's very interesting.
Okay,
that guy was a character.
Somebody said that without us being able to speak Spanish fluently, we cannot react to Spanish porn. I don't think that's true, and I don't think that's accurate.
What's up with Spanish? Sure, it's the second most spoken language in the world, but how about like...
All we need to know is sí, más, oh, muy grande. I mean, that's pretty much all you really need.
Yeah, sure. Or what was that song? Despacito.
Let's not go there. Let's not go... That shit was huge, though.
That could be the soundtrack at the back, man. Think about it.
Somebody said the reintroduction of tapes in the metal scene appealing to hipsters or a nice bit of nostalgia. What do you think about that? Yeah, like, you know, like the vinyls made a comeback, and now there's some labels and bands are releasing tapes again of their albums. So you can buy the album. Ghost did that. And there's other bands that have done that. They released the CD, they released like the iTunes, the vinyl, and then they released the tape. What's your thoughts on the tape? Do you think this is just like a nostalgia cash grab kind of thing?
Tape meaning the cassette, right?
Yeah. The little cassettes.
That's precisely what we did with the vinyls. I mean, like, of course, after 10 years, we would be looking at CDs like the way we look at tapes. So that's going to be another thing as well. Like, the next generation would never even know what a CD was. Like, there are a lot of people still today don't know what a CD is, or a Blu-ray, or a DVD. I mean, so it's just a matter of time. I think that's just bringing back nostalgia as well, just to have that, you know, thing going on. Same thing with the vinyls and all that. So, sure, it's another
promotional item, right?
Sorry?
It's just another promotional item that pulls on the heartstrings of the baby boomers.
Sure, definitely. I mean, have you seen that video when the people, like the young ones try to look at Walkman and try to see like how it works?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh man, that's just excellent. That's like they try to figure out what the hell is this thing? Like they're like, what? Like, is that a camera? Like, you know, what is this? How does it work? So that's a pretty good one. So
yeah, it's interesting. The whole tape thing. I can see somebody said that at least the vinyls, the quality is better than the tape. Yeah, I just see the cassettes. For me, it's really more of a novelty thing, something that it's another item that you can add to your.
Did someone say that vinyl has the cassette has a better quality?
No. The vinyl has the better sound than the cassette.
Oh, okay.
But the vinyl to me is still a nostalgia thing, right? But
there we go. That's about it. That's pretty much it. I mean, like, think about the songs that you heard when you were a kid. Of course, when you hear them now, if you haven't listened to them for 5-6 years, you hear it and you go like, what the hell? You started listening to different sounds from it, right? The things that you did not even picturize before. That just happened to me about a week ago. I came across songs from Pakistan which were like lost in time, basically. So there's somebody who made the video of the most memorable Pakistani songs from back in the days. And when I listened to them, I was like, oh my God, the production is so fucking bullshit. But I used to love them because, that was not my...
to it.
So, I mean, I can listen to it again and it reminds me a lot of things. But that's the same nostalgia if you're talking with the tapes or if you're talking with the vinyls. Like, that's one of the reasons why you would prefer vinyls over tapes. at the end of the day, when we really talk about the quality, like the quality that the digital audio is giving you is beating the both. So, I mean, what are we talking here?
Yeah,
Like
I think it really becomes a nostalgic thing because the sound
Yeah.
is evolving, the quality is getting better. I think the reason why vinyl is having such a huge comeback is because it reminds people of an easier time, of a different time. When you were younger, you know, it transports you. It's almost like having a time machine. It transports you back in time to when you were younger. I think that's the whole point. The tapes,
It transports you back in time too.
in time to listen to it again.
Time to listen to it again.
Yeah.
Are we in the correct year? If it already happened in the past,
Yeah,
then
I just don't see the tapes the same way. I used to hate the whole fast forwarding. Whenever somebody gave you a tape and they're like, "Dude, you got to check out this song," and you look at the back of the tape where you write the names of the songs, and the song would be like 6 songs deep, and then you would be pressing forward and stopping, try to find where the freaking song was. I don't miss those days at all.
Sure. I mean, I remember the first time that I came to Europe, I had made about 10 to 15 cassettes. I mean, I recorded them from the CDs, and I made the cassettes because in Pakistan I used to listen all of them with the Walkman. And so because my uncle had a huge collection of vinyls as well, which I copied from vinyls to, you know, record them on tape. So I had to listen to the whole albums as well while copying, while recording. I mean, I really enjoyed that time, and I still enjoy the time. I can guarantee you that 99% of the people who are sitting here would never know the word called burn a CD.
Well, somebody just said it's not about the quality.
Term.
Somebody said it's not about the quality, it's about the packaging, the lyrics, and the photos. To a certain extent, it depends on the generation, right? My son, for example, for the new generations, they couldn't give two shits about it. They go on iTunes, they buy the tracks that they want. They don't even buy the full albums, and that's that. I think you have to look at this from a generational perspective. I look at it from two perspectives. When I was a kid and I bought an album, I would listen to that album ad nauseum because I didn't have money to buy 2 or 3 releases in 1 week. So I would buy like one CD maybe every 2 weeks. So first you would have to be sure that this album was going to be really good because you're putting your money into it. And then when you buy it, good or bad, you're going to play the shit out of it because that's the only thing you're going to be able to buy for the next 2 or 3 weeks. That's part one. Part two is if somebody came over to your house, that's how I got into metal. A friend of mine had a tape, a cassette. He had a cassette with a Rise on one side and Beneath the Remains on the other from Sepultura. And I was the only guy that had the boombox with the 2 tape decks where you could press play on one and press play record on the second, right?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so they came over to my house every day for a week for me to make tapes, copy that tape into other tapes for all my friends. And you have to listen to it in real time. It's not like you can, you know, it's not like you're recording MP3s. It's real time.
Right.
So I listened to A Rise and Beneath the Remains nonstop for a week. By the end of the week, I was a fan.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like where the term else comes from, mixtapes. Like this is what that was. Yeah. So a lot of that I said, like literally there would be, I exaggerated a little bit that 99% of the people would not know what I'm talking about. But that's the same way. 90% at least would not know what burning a CD means because that's how you used to do it as well. Like you write on empty or like completely 600 MB spaced CDs. Like those were the days. I've burned a lot of CDs like that as well.
Yeah, and you had to be careful with the speed of the burning because if you the speed of the burner had to match the speed of the CD, and then you had to do the checking afterwards to make sure that the volume was leveled across all tracks so that you wouldn't have one song really loud and one song really low.
Precisely.
I'm glad I don't have to go through that shit anymore.
And the best part about the cassettes used to be when you remember, like your just the reel gets out by mistake, it gets stuck somewhere, and then you gotta have the pencil and those things with that. And
remember
clean the head. Clean the head.
Clean the head. I was just gonna say that. And you used to buy. We had the tapes that you put in and you press play, and it would clean the head of the tape deck. The tape itself was a cleaner. Either that or you use a Q-tip with a little bit of alcohol, and you would press play with the tape open, and you would put the Q-tip in there to clean it. Wow,
Oh,
man.
damn.
We,
Good old days.
I have another story
remember
for you.
1990s. Sorry?
I have another fun story for you. A friend of mine had the vinyl from Ozzy Osbourne, No More Tears. And I didn't have a vinyl player. I only had the boombox with the 2 tape decks. And so my brother had a vinyl player. So I went to his house and I said, okay, can you record this vinyl for me on a tape, on a cassette? He doesn't listen to metal, so he recorded on the wrong rotation. So he recorded. He gave it to me. When I went home, it was like freaking Ozzy Osbourne was on acid. It was like it was so fast. I was like, this is not the same album I heard before. Like, what the fuck happened here? So
And then
those things.
certain songs stick in your head like that as well, and you can't get them out. I still remember I was trying to record one song of Godsmack. Somehow, how I was doing it, I don't remember. And all of a sudden, in between comes a song from Scooter. Right at the breakdown of that song, that was like Awake. I still remember the name of the song. Awake was the song of Godsmack.
Yeah, it's a good song, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. And boom, that thing comes in till so many years after. Really, when I got to really hear the real song from start till the end, I was like, that's weird.
So somebody just said something. Somebody just said something really interesting. They said that I used to make mixtapes and give them out as birthday presents. Okay, I never did that, but I'm going to ask you this question to you and to the folks watching. We used to make mixtapes and give it to the girls that we liked, but it was a real problem when you were a metalhead and there's no freaking ballads, or at least not enough ballads to make a full mixtape. You know what I mean? And it's not like you want to make a mixtape with Dark Funeral and give it to a girl. I mean, at least not in my neighborhood. That wouldn't go far. That was the real struggle. I remember as a kid, there was just not too many. Like, if you listen to thrash and you listen to death metal and black metal, there was just not enough ballads to go around unless you did a whole tape of Scorpions.
Well, even that would be difficult for them to listen to somehow. It depends. Like in my country, for instance, like I was a complete outsider anyways. I mean, there was no chance in any way that in my class even, or probably like, let's say in my school, that I might find somebody who listens to the same thing that I do. I mean, I was the only one who was known in one of the schools. Like I was just named Dio because I listened to Dio so much and I talked about him all the time. I remember punching a guy as well because he called him, when he saw his picture standing right next to the other band members, he called him a midget. I punched him right in the face. So those were the things. Like, so it just depends where you are. So I think it's really hard to say, like those mixtapes, how would they would have worked for certain people, till the point like you give them the mixtape as well and they're like, what the hell is this? I remember one of my uncles coming, he lives in Germany as well, and his wife made a mixtape of all the, top radio songs going on those days. And that's where the Ricky Martin song is like, da, 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 da. What's the name of that song? Da, 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 Voodoo Dolls.
It's not Living La Vida Loca, is it?
Yeah, that's the one. Like, that's how much I love Ricky Martin, right? So those were her mixtapes for me. And I was like, what the hell is this shit? I mean, I had to listen through that, like, because it was like, hey, check this out, while driving towards the north of the country to visit different cities or just go on a holiday. And then we were listening to Livin' La Vida. Yeah. Loca.
And somebody mentioned something else that I used to do is listen to the metal radio show and then try to record your favorite songs that were playing on the radio, right? And the thing that always pissed me off is when you're recording a song and you've been waiting for that song to come on the radio, you press record and you're like, yeah, finally I'm getting this track. And then the fucking DJ speaks over the track in the last like 30 seconds of the song. And it's like, fuck, this fucking douche just ruined the track for me. That used to piss me off.
Yeah, I really have so many. I don't know where the cassettes are. I mean, there must be somewhere at my with my parents in Pakistan as well. But I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of mixtapes like that as well, because somehow there was this one channel, and somehow somebody has hacked it or something, that it had the access of one of the Western world's channel, and there used to be some, rock songs coming in. So I made the mixtape of that as well one time, and that I did while sitting in the car. That was the most interesting thing. So there used to be the access that you have the car. You put the tape in the car, and the tape had a cord that you can attach to a stereo and start recording from. So I had to charge up my stereo all the way with the extension cords going in the house, and then I brought that here, put the stereo there, and he did the same thing. God damn it. After every song, like in the middle, he would say like, "Oh, by the way, this is the song from blah blah." Hey, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Please.
Yeah, it just fucking ruined the track. I used to hate that. Man, seriously, that was the worst feeling. Like, especially when it's getting all the way down to the end of the song, and you're like, you start to feel like the light at the end of the tunnel, and then the fucking guy comes on in the last 30 seconds and ruins the outro of the track, and that whole time just freaking went to waste. Blue balls, you get blue balls.
Well, okay, that's another question I have actually for you. Do you have those, I bet you might. Do you have the photo albums of your childhood times or something like that? Do you have these picture albums?
Yeah. My mother, when we were kids, it was a tradition in Portugal to have like your baby photo albums. I have 2 of them. By the way, most of them, the pictures are X-rated. Like, it's me naked in a bathtub with my freaking ding-along in my testes floating. Back then, nobody cared. Like, you would take the pictures, you would go to the studio to get them developed. Nobody would call the cops in child pornography or whatever. Now, imagine me now taking pictures of my son naked and going into a place get it developed. And tell the guy, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not a pedophile. That's my kid."
He's like, "Yeah, right. Wait a minute."
yeah. It's it wouldn't fly right now, but like it was different times, man. Like I'm telling you, right now, if I go through those albums, at least 50% of the pictures I could not even share with people because I'm naked.
Oh, damn. Well, that's definitely a content that would be, that would be priceless.
Yeah, it's interesting how much times have changed that now when I look at it, I see how ridiculous. Why did you feel the need to take pictures of me naked in the bathtub where I'm like fully exposed? Like, you know what I mean? At least
things the fucking parents do to their kids. I mean, to be frankly telling you, while they're little, I mean, like there's no question about it. I mean, you being a parent as well. That's not that I'm saying like,
I didn't do that. I'll tell you that much. I was always very careful with that shit.
I mean, I don't.
We live in different times, my friend. It's different times. You gotta be careful with what you do and what you say when it comes to your kids these days. It's a different world. But it was. I think there was more innocence back then.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you could picturize it that way because nobody had the concept of like what could the outcome be of this thing. I mean, because that became a thing later on in the years. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't ever think about it like, okay, well, this is what the child pornography is about,
Yeah, I don't think you even heard. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't exist. You just weren't as aware of it. So I think that is the main thing. You were not as aware of it. But yeah, we had those albums. Did you guys have those as well?
I mean, I still do. I mean, in my parents' place, yeah, definitely. I mean, I have some of the pictures that I still took from Pakistan with me as a memory, and I still have them somewhere. I put them lately to my studio somewhere or something like that. But my reasoning of asking that question was just exactly the same way about the tapes, about the vinyls, and so on. That today's generation would never know about that, basically, The reason is this, that they haven't experienced that. So for them, looking the pictures from their time, like 5 years ago, on their phone or their tablets or on their laptops or whatever device that they're using is more valuable to them than to understand like what a actual photograph printed meant. That's the difference. And then you talk about the old school photographers as well, and they're like, yeah, that's just something about it that, you know, when the colors come to life, because you never know what the picture you took, how it would turn out to be from the camera to the print in that sense. So it's a different nostalgic relation to everything. So I say it's very, what would be the right word? It's very naive to say that, oh yeah, those were the best times and today is shit. No, it's generation to generation, as you said.
I mean, the generations that'll come afterwards will say something the same towards this generation now, and the things that they do. You know what I mean? So it's always going to be a generational thing. By the way, somebody asked if you're a fan of Deer and Grey. You know, the Japanese band?
I've heard the band. I'm not a fan. I wouldn't call a fan. Like, I appreciate the things that they have done or they do, but I wouldn't say I'm a fan, no.
I can speak freely on this one because I don't know anybody from that band and they don't know me, so I don't like it.
Not yet.
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. I mean, not a fan. It's just not my thing. It just doesn't do it for me.
Well, let's just talk about it, which country they come from.
I know, but there's good bands that come out of Japan.
Right, but like everything is possible in Japan. I mean, that is like an alien planet. That is an alien planet on this planet.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So,
that I agree with you. But
considering that, anything is possible.
I'm just not a fan of their sound. Just not a fan. I mean, not to say. I always say this: just because I don't like something doesn't mean it's not good. It just means it's not good to me. You know, I'm not the barometer of everything that's good or bad. It's just that it's not good for me. It doesn't mean it's not good for somebody else.
Right.
So
definitely,
that's how I look at music and everything in general.
Sure. I mean, that's the other thing going on around with this Mongolian metal band. What's the name of it?
Who? The Who?
The Who.
Yeah, HU, right? Not the Who, like Guess Who and whatever, but Who.
I mean, everybody went berserk about it and so on. Like, to me, it did nothing. I mean, I was like,
to be honest with you, before them, there was Tinger Cavalry. Those guys were around way before doing the same kind of thing, right? So this is not something new. It's just something that got repackaged with some really good marketing behind it, some really good money being thrown at it, and to get exposure. No wonder Mikael Salo thinks the Who are freaking amazing. Of course, that's his people. That's his people. And by the way, Laureline is saying that the Who, and then she put a heart. Laureline, in my opinion, cannot talk because she doesn't like Trivium. And anybody that doesn't like Trivium, I have a serious problem with that. You don't like Trivium?
I'm not a fan. I don't have anything against them. But
you're not going to steal their gear and beat them up, but...
No, absolutely not. No.
But
I
I
appreciate what they have become. I appreciate that and what they are, sure, absolutely. But I wouldn't call it like that. I would put up a song and go like, yes, that's my band. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I haven't, because I know that there's much more bands out there which have better potential to give to me than I would put up Trivium to go like, well, all right, well, you know.
Well, the new album.
I don't have anything against it. I don't have anything. This is the problem that I had with Bullet for My Valentine.
Okay, so let's talk about bands we don't like. So.
Yeah.
Okay, let's burn some bridges here. So, what's your issue with Bullet for My Valentine? Because I used to like Bullet for My Valentine in the early days of Bullet for My Valentine.
I don't have an issue.
Oh.
I had an issue with them because when I listened to them for the first time, I was like, what fucking bullshit, emo bullshit crap is this? It took me time, and then some of the songs became the same thing. Why? Nostalgia again. Because at that time, back in the days, when, of course, hey guys, I come from Pakistan, so I've literally downloaded a lot of music illegally. There was no other way to do it, to listen to music the way the music that I wanted to listen to. That's how I came to know Lamb of God as well. It was a mistake. It was a mistake that song got downloaded, and it took me 2 weeks to download one song. And that's how I came to know Lamb of God. So what happened with the Bullet for My Valentine was that I came across one of their songs by mistake that was called All the Things That I Hate or something like that. It's a ballad song. It's a pretty, I like that song. Nostalgic feeling once again as well.
Which one,
it took
sorry?
me a
which,
month.
which song?
All the Things I Hate.
Oh.
Or I'm not remembering the name of the title. It was a long title, right? It was the same time when Are You Dead Yet was released by Bodum as well. And it took me 2 months to download that video from LimeWire. That used to be a software.
I know, I used to have it.
And there used to be another one before. Sorry?
It was peer-to-peer. You download from other people.
Exactly. If they are online and if they have the fucking video, then you will get it. Otherwise, that was constantly, I was like, hey, come on, please, people.
Somebody just said full bullet from my quarantine. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. And by the way, Loreline's saying that you mean the song Tears Don't Fall, which, by the way, I think that's one of their biggest hits.
No.
It wasn't that one?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is. But what song I mean is like All the Things That I Hate. Or...
That sounds like a Blink-182 song.
Well, as we have the internet, so Bullet for
my Valentine. Oh my god.
So talk about that. No, okay, I'll explain like why I said about that I do like Bullet for My Valentine. All These Things I Hate. That's the name of the song.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't have any problem with Bullet for My Valentine, and it took me 2 months to download that video, and eventually when I did it,
you were over it.
I was like, oh my god! It took me 2 months. I better listen to it a couple of times as well. So when I did, it took me time, boom, 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 and it grew on me.
So I have this idea. I have this idea. Think of the 5. I'm going to tell you my 5. Think of the 5 bands everybody loves, but you don't like. Start thinking about the 5 bands that everybody likes that you don't like. I'll tell you my 5, which I think is going to surprise a bunch of people. Somebody said Trivium is a super talented band, but they are not for me. I can't find anything special about them. Sad face. By the way, the new album comes out April 24th. Is absolutely amazing. I absolutely. If you like the Sin in the Sentence, this one is even better. But anyways, 5 bands that everybody likes that I just don't like. I just don't gravitate towards. I'll tell you one, then you tell me one, and we'll try to get through this. The one that comes immediately to my mind is Tool.
You don't like?
I don't like Tool. I can't get into it. And I don't understand the hype. Do you like Tool?
I've started to grow in them, and I truly admire of the sense of music that they have done. I'm not a fan, and I say it out loud. But somebody I know in this house is the biggest fan.
Oh,
so
I know.
I know too.
I saw that for myself this past summer.
Right, exactly. So I mean, considering that, I am not forced as well to be like, oh well, because that is the way that I like. But really, there are things that I really appreciate about them. I did not like the hype that they had, that they released an album after 13 years, and it was like, could you give me something different? I know that what you are, yes, but it wasn't something different. It's the same way. One of the things that I loved about Chinese Democracy, loved is a wrong word, liked about Chinese Democracy, that it was completely different than Guns N' Roses. It was like, what the fuck? So it made sense that you took so many years to do something and you did something different. It made sense. It was like, cool. So your Tool element is, I can totally get it. It took me time as well. But I think we talked about it when we were going to Tampere.
Yeah, we did, because I just, at the time the album was coming out, that's why.
Right.
The album was coming out, and the singles were out, and they had added all their tracks into iTunes. So that was the big thing about now. No, Spotify. They had uploaded all their tracks to Spotify. So that was the big conversation at the time.
Oh yeah, right.
You know, and I was just like, honestly, I just can't. I can't get into it. It's one of those bands that I just can't get into it. I'm not saying that they're not good. They're not for me. I just can't. I don't gravitate towards them. There's a few others that I'm going to say that is probably going to surprise you. So Tool is one of them. Another one is Pearl Jam.
What? Okay, what?
You like Pearl Jam?
Hell yeah!
Come on, man. Jeremy Spoken, and what he said was nothing worth listening to. That's my Pearl Jam diss, by the way.
The first album that I listened to was another nostalgic feeling for me because it was given to me by, I had a very nice, deck. Very awesome deck. That was mine. I don't know where the heck it is. I mean, I hope I find it somewhere in my house back in the country. And the albums that I got, I specifically told my brother, who was living in England at that time, that please bring me as many CDs of Dio that you can bring. As many as you can. But along that, he brought 3 albums for me. Inferno Live, which I kept it dear to me, till the point I got robbed and all of those CDs were gone. He brought Holy Diver as well. And then the third album he brought was Magica. Those were the 3 albums that I kept very dear to me. And, fourth one, Sacred Heart also. So, and Last in Line. So, sorry, 5 albums. He did bring me 5 albums that I asked him to do. And then on top, he gave me Pearl Jam album called One. Or is it Once?
I can't remember. I don't like the band.
It is Once.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Well, there were tons of songs that I loved about from that band, even Flow,
I like
so on.
Listen,
I wouldn't say that I'm the biggest fan.
I like a few songs here and there. I just think they're overrated, in my opinion. And that whole grunge scene, to me, they became the hipsters of the grunge scene. You know what I mean? And
the thing is that the singers, the grunge, what brought grunge with it. Now, I'm not talking about Nirvana here. I'm talking about the grunge brought amazing vocalists of its time. Amazing. Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder, Stone Temple Pilot. What was the guy's name? Sorry, I forgot about his name. But amazing vocalists. Guitar players? Fucking ridiculous. Throw them, burn them, whatever you want to do with them. I don't care. I'm sorry. But that's my opinion about the grunge guitar players. Songwriting-wise, yes, fair enough. Alice in Chains as well. But we are talking about Lane Stanley, for instance. The amazing vocalists came out. That's what I loved about Pearl Jam as well. Great songwriting.
By the way, Pearl Jam, the album is called 10, not 2. It's 10. That's the one that has Evan Flo and Alive and Jeremy.
Right.
Even I know that, and I don't like those guys.
Who? No. Who told you that? I can see that you're reading them.
Somebody on the chat just said that. So anyway, let's go back. So for me, Tool, Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Then this next one, somebody said Nickelback. I mean, I'm not even going to put that on the list. Who listens to Nickelback? Seriously, I mean that doesn't even go on the list. So the other one is Five Finger Death Punch. I honestly, I cannot get into Five Finger Death Punch. I've tried. I give it that old school college try, and I can't get into that.
So you're trying to tell me that you don't like Five Stinger Death Punch, but you like Sabaton? Please.
Oh, come on! How do you put Sabaton and Five Finger Death Punch in the same sentence? Like they're completely different bands, different genre. Everything is completely different. Come on, I almost throw my chair around here.
I did press the button. I knew it. That's why I did it. Okay,
exactly.
What's the
Laureline, even her with her limited taste in music by not liking Trivium knows that Five Finger Death Punch is the Nickelback of the metal scene. Come on, even she knows it. Ah, man, come on. So, recapping. Tool, Five Finger Death Punch. No, Pearl Jam, Five Finger Death Punch. And number 4, I know this is going to hurt a lot of people, Dream Theater. I like some of their earlier albums, but they've kind of lost me halfway through the 90s. I've kind of like tuned them out halfway through the 90s. And I know they're a great band, really technical, like really good musicians. I just can't get into Dream Theater.
Okay, that's 4.
And then number 5, and this one is the one perhaps that hurts the most because it's a fellow Canadian, and it's Devin Townsend.
You do not like Devin Townsend.
I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it's like turkey meat. I prefer chicken, but if turkey is the only thing available, I'll have it.
But okay, Devin Townsend has done so much of stuff. Which stuff of Devin Townsend we are talking here?
Oh, somebody said Sabaton is way better than Five Finger Death Punch. You're absolutely right. Of course it is. I just don't like his I'm just not a fan of the more. I'm not a prog fan, right? Like, as you can tell probably by the list of bands that I just put together, with the exception of Pearl Jam and Five Finger Death Punch. I'm not a prog guy. I'm really picky as far as prog is concerned, so I'm not a huge fan of that genre. And Devin Townsend, his solo stuff, it's interesting stuff, but I just can't really gravitate towards it.
Well, I totally get your point. But like,
see,
at the same time,
Strapping Young Lad, I'm okay with Strapping Young Lad. His solo stuff, the more proggy stuff that I just really can't,
I get it. So Strapping Young Lad is fine, but you're not fine with his solo Devin Townsend project, for instance.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind listening to it, but it's not like if I'm listening to the radio or I'm listening to something and it comes on, I'm not going to turn it off. Do you know what I mean? The other bands I will turn it off. Well, not Dream Theater, but the other 3 for sure. I'll turn it off. I'd rather listen to nothing. I'd rather listen to me farting than listen to those other 3 bands. But if he comes on, I'll listen to it. But it's not something that I will necessarily gravitate towards. That I'll play it.
Right. No, I get your point. I do understand it. Like, he has done. It's the same thing that he has changed in. Like, his attribute has changed so much in that sense. When you compare Strapping Young Lad to his recent work, that is just day and night, basically. It's very hard to put together.
Yeah, it's like 2 separate things.
Right. Okay, well, that was
my 5. So what about you? What?
As particularly, I'm not the guy who listens to metal that much. Like, nowadays, I mean, I'm still sticking to the old school stuff and so on. And if I pick out by mistake one of the bands around here and there, and I go like, whoa, okay, then I'll start listening to the album and this and that. But I don't have a rotation going on that I'm in search of finding new bands and listen to this and that. Certain bands that really get my attention, then I stick with them. Those who don't, I'm just like, they're just passing. Sorry?
You just delete them from your database.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, but that's nothing to do with the fact that, I don't like the musicians and so on. There's so many bands that I know that I'm friends with. Some of them I don't like their music, but I'm just friends with them. But that doesn't mean that, it's like, well, the end of the day or something like this. But
somebody said that Iron Maiden is a prog metal band. Since when is Iron Maiden prog?
It created the prog element, indeed.
Do you think
harmonized a lot of things. It was from the 70s and so on. It did.
I don't see it that way.
I'm getting. Like, there are some people who really don't like Iron Maiden, apparently.
Oh, there's a lot of people in the comment section that apparently have a lot of negative things to say about Iron Maiden. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Of the classic bands, and when I mean classic, let's talk about, like, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Metallica. Who else you want to throw in there? Slayer. Maybe even throw Megadeth. Maybe you can even throw AC/DC into the mix, like those really classic old school bands. Sabbath. All of those bands. Motorhead. Of all of those bands, the one perhaps that I like the least is Iron Maiden. I'm not going to be. I like them a lot. I've seen them multiple times live, but it's to me they're a band that I have to be in the right mood.
Okay.
I like them, but they're not like. I like them, but it's not like one of those bands that is near and dear to my heart. Let's put it that way.
Right. I mean, I listen to a lot of Iron Maiden as well, and I could not ever say that I'm a diehard Iron Maiden fan, but Iron Maiden is something that I would definitely keep next to me as well, because I grew up with them, and of course I had a lot of respect for the guys, and of course Bruce Dickinson, there's no question about it. Adrian Smith, Dave Murray, like, of course, the musicianship and so on. Indeed. Song-wise, album-wise, I suck. I don't know their albums, and they have many.
Yeah.
And I don't know their albums by name. That's the other thing. So there's a contrast here as well. Big respect for Judas Priest, amazing stuff. Absolutely, anytime I can put it up. And the only two albums that I know of Judas Priest, first of all, is Firepower.
That's the latest?
That's the latest, because they brought their old school element back in the modern sound. And the other one that I know is British Steel.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Hellbent for Leather.
I mean, I know what it is, and that's pretty much it. If somebody picks up the song, that this song is from this song is from that, I don't even know which album Painkiller belongs to. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. We're not judging you. We're judging you on your Sabaton comment, but we're not judging you on anything else.
No, not we, you.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it's just me. Right. Definitely just me.
So I mean, okay, let's put it this way: the five bands that I would go are big, and or was it like any band or like big bands?
No, it doesn't matter. Whatever bands bands that normally people like that you don't really like. You can think about
Sabaton. It took me a long time still, and I'm still like trying to struggle to get the vibe out of that, like somehow. I don't know.
I mean, for me it's different because on the
singer
channel,
just throws me off.
See, on the channel we get asked to check out certain bands a lot, right? And sometimes I don't want to disappoint people, but it's like, man, I don't like that band. I know enough of that band that I don't like them, so therefore we're not going to check out one of their latest videos on the channel or whatever the case might be. I'll give you an example with one that gets mentioned quite a bit. We've done actually a couple of videos, and I've liked those songs, but it's not a band that once again, I'm not a big fan of prog, and one of those bands is Pagan's Mind. I like the songs that we've done on the channel, but I'm not a fan of that genre per se. So for me, I can only listen to bands that are within that genre, within certain limitations.
You understand that Wintersun is quite prog as well?
Yeah, but it's different though. It's a lot heavier. There's a lot of different. To me, it's once again, it all comes down to within prog. There's certain bands that I like, but it's a genre that I'm very specific with what I like within that genre. I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying.
I totally did.
It's like, that's for example, when I look at thrash metal, right? Almost any band that falls under that genre, I like. Destruction, Overkill, Anthrax, Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth. What else? Warbringer. The list goes on. Like, you can almost throw any band, Creator. You can throw any band that's under that category. I like. Because I really like that genre, right? So it's going to be hard for you to be, man, you have to really suck if you're a thrash metal band and I don't like it. Like, you really have to be really bad at whatever it is that you do. But with the prog side of things.
All right, I'm gonna write down the bands that are coming to my head now.
Okay. Yeah, do that. So with the prog side of things, I'm more, what can I say to you? I'm more picky in terms of the bands that I like, the different structures that they have to their songs, that kind of stuff.
Right. No, I'm getting your point. Like this is totally understandable. I mean, it's the personal taste. Of course, there are certain bands as well that are progressive as hell that I really like, and then there are certain bands that is just like, what the fuck is this? I really don't want to listen to it even.
See, like, but I'll give you an example. Look, Nightwish. The first time we did a video for Nightwish, we didn't like it. It grew on us. Like now, I'm a huge fan of Nightwish. So,
right.
And actually seeing them live was the trigger. We saw them live. It's a funny story. They were coming to play in Toronto. They were having a North American tour back in 2018, and we got the tickets on discount. It was March break, and the venue was having a hard time selling the tickets. So we bought tickets for $25 each. So $25 is about 15 euros. So we bought tickets for 15 euros each to go to the show, which we end up buying merch at the show, and the merch cost more than the tickets. But that's a different story. So when we went to that show and we saw them live, that was the trigger that changed how we perceived Nightwish. So some bands, sometimes seeing them live, something triggers you and you go in a different direction. Sometimes it's the other way around. You see them live, they're really good, and then you listen to the studio stuff, and it just doesn't match that same energy from seeing them live. So I don't know. I think that's why I don't like to say, oh, I don't like this genre, I don't like that genre. No. There's certain genres I like more than others, and then within those genres that I like less, which is, for example, the prog one, I still like prog bands. I just don't like I like Opeth. I just don't like every single band under the sun. Do you know what I mean? Put that on your list. I know you just made a face when I said Opeth.
Boom. Right. Yeah.
And by the way, the Pornhub video reaction thing is happening. Me and Asim is going to be Asim and Pedro Porn Reacts is going to be the name of the channel, something along those lines.
Yeah, that would be good. Like
once again,
hey, A&P, this would be P&A Reacts.
Yeah, P&A Reacts, exactly. P&A Reacts.
Correct.
And by the way, Laureline, Trivium is amazing. Just learn to accept that and then move on. Your life will be better.
Right. Not sure about that though, but okay. I mean, okay, that's the other thing. Like, I have changed my perspective of seeing bands a lot by thinking about that, how the bands used to look like. The band used to look like a band, you know. A band has to look like a band. It's hard to say it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say here. It's like the back in the days when you look at a band, you look at each an individual and you can look at it as a unit. Nowadays, there are bands, one guy is looking like he just got out of prison. The other guy is looking like he just got, spoon hit by his wife or something like that. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, there's so many bands like that.
I don't even know if that's a thing, but okay.
One guy would be standing at the back looking sorry that I'm really here. My mom is calling me, I need to go. Like, those kind of faces in the bands exist nowadays. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but they just annoy the living shit out of me.
Before you continue, I just want to answer a couple of quick questions. One is, I don't even know if you've ever heard of this band, but Between the Buried and Me. I like Between the Buried and Me, and they're really proggy, but they're really heavy at the same time. And I really like the directions that they take with their tracks. I like the bends that they do with their music. So there's an example of a prog band that I like. I also like Gojira. So I'm not 100% against the genre itself. It's just that I'm kind of picky in terms of what I like and what I don't like.
Right. I mean, okay, I totally get it. But this is something else. Like, I'm gonna talk about the whole package. If I talk about a band, I'm gonna talk about the whole package, because I don't talk about just about the music or so on. And there's no personal attack to the individuals. I mean, as I said, like, I know the people as well in certain bands that I don't like the band, but I just love the people, so it just depends on that.
Yeah, nothing is personal. Well, maybe when I said that I'd rather listen to me farting than Five Finger Death Punch, maybe that was a little personal, but besides that, nothing else is personal.
Right. was okay. Let's start with Volbeat.
Come on! Come on! Come on! First Sabaton, now Volbeat? Like, seriously?
I get it.
Hold on. On this note, somebody just asked about Antonio. Antonio went to bed at 3:30 a.m. He got up at 12:30 p.m. And he was playing FIFA until 3:30 a.m. And then at 12:30 p.m. he went to play FIFA again. So he said for me and Asim to do this to figure out all the kinks of the live streaming so then he'll participate in the next one. Apparently he's the eye candy and he will only come in once things are working properly.
There we go.
He's a diva. He's a diva. All right. So now that I sit back again, Volbeat. All right. Okay, give it to me.
Right. As a package of a band, I don't even remember the last time I saw anything that they did. But that band does not look like a band. Like, to me, it doesn't look like a band. And I wouldn't be, like, you know, highly impressed by any particular thing. First thing first, of course, the big time thing that threw me off was the vocalist. Still does, because that is so hillbilly, anything hillbilly-ish. I
mean,
just
that's
don't.
the whole appeal of their sound. It's like it's rock and roll, hillbilly rock and roll.
That's what I just said. Like, I just don't like it. Like, that just throws me out of the window.
Okay, I don't.
Like, anything hillbilly-ish.
I don't like their latest album at all. I mean, I honestly I don't like their latest album at all. But their previous stuff, I cannot hate on Volbeat. I honestly I really like Volbeat. I actually seen them live and I like them all the way up to the last record. The last record I wasn't a fan, but everything before that I like Volbeat. I like that rock and rolly hillbilly, and I like the tone of his voice. I know this drives some people crazy, but what can I say?
That's what I was just talking about. I just, you know, the thing that threw me off was what do you got? Okay, I understand you're Danish. You have a potato in your mouth anyways. Like, come on. I mean, I'm sorry, but like that's my opinion anyway. So
you know. By the way, before you continue, Laureline continues to go down on the list of people that I care for because first is Trivium that she doesn't like, and now she agrees with you. She also doesn't like Volbeat. So she's batting like 0 for 2 right now. You know.
Could be. Well, I mean, think about the fact that I haven't seen Volbeat live.
Well, they sound the same as they sound in the studio. If you don't like the studio stuff, you're not missing much. If you don't like, it's fine. Not everybody has to like everything. So, anyways, Volbeat. What's the next one?
Sabaton. There's a reason to it.
Okay. Let's break it down.
I mean, first off, I met the guys, nice guys, really, really, like, certainly one guy I would have to say it out loud, Bar, the bass player, such a gentleman, like, such a nice guy, had a great time with him. Music-wise, I just don't know. I haven't sat down that I've listened to the album, like, from start to the end. And the reason why is the vocalist threw me off time after fucking
Chuck Liddell,
time.
the way he rolls the R's, that's like the appeal. Like, he's not a great singer. Nobody's going to say
If
he
you
is.
want to roll the R's and if you can't do it like Till Lindemann, you should keep yourself in a...
Oh, Laureline likes Sabaton, so she's getting back in my good graces.
All right. Well, I get it.
Sabaton, I think it's one of those bands that's really polarizing. Either people love them or hate them. I've never met somebody who's kind of like in the middle. It's like Ghost. Either you love them or you hate them. I've never met somebody who's like, you know what? Some days I like to listen to them, some days I don't.
Right. It took me time to get into Ghost as well, to be frankly speaking. The earlier stuff, still it takes me time as well, and I'm like, what the hell? So there are certain things about Ghost as well which are like, but as a package, what Ghost is, just fucking hats off. And that's a package we are talking about.
Oh, yeah. Live, what an incredible live band. Like, it's just absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely. And I haven't seen Sabaton live yet, so it's hard to say. I have listened to them from a distance because we were playing...
I've listened I was going to say, I've listened to Five Finger Death Punch on mute. They were amazing. But
No, the reason I'm saying that I've listened to them from a distance because I was too busy drinking because that was my first show with Wintersun on Sweden Rock, and that was the same time they were headlining. So it was a bit, oh no, they were not headlining on the same day. Sorry. I've listened to them on another festival. Aerosmith was headlining on that festival.
Oh, I hate Aerosmith. Oh, God. Talk about a band that I just... I just... Oh, fuck.
I know a couple of songs and they're fucking great.
Oh.
That's pretty much it.
Aerosmith,
I wouldn't even put it in my soft.
I'm not big into that whole era of rock, hard rock, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, right. So Volbeat, what was the second one? Sabaton?
Sabaton.
Okay, third one?
I appreciate them as a musician way too much, and music I like as well, but certain times of their albums I just am like, what? Just turn it off. Like, Opeth.
Yeah, I saw your face when I mentioned them.
Yeah. It just doesn't do anything for me. And it did not do anything for me live either. They were great, they were in time, they were playing great, but I'm talking about a whole package. For fuck's sake, I want to see some performance. I mean, there was none. But then, if you compare the performance-wise and you think about Pink Floyd, which is one of my favorite bands of all times, I know your face to that band. When we talk about performance,
I like Pink Floyd. I'm not hating on Pink Floyd.
Okay, all right.
I also like Dire Straits, by the way. They're one of my favorite rock bands. So, not that they have anything to do with Pink Floyd, but wow, you don't like Mark Knopfler?
I respect him. I love his playing, and he's one of the finest, best guitar players of all times. There's no question. But the songs just throw me under the bus.
Come on. He has great lyrics. Money for nothing and chicks for free. Like, I mean, who writes that shit?
A guy like him.
I mean, those are great lyrics,
Well, sure. I mean, no wonder that, the bread and butter was considered of certain society while naming Mark Knopfler.
So Volbeat, Sabaton, Opeth. I think a lot of people got off the Opeth train with the later albums. With the earlier stuff, when it was proggy, but it was more death metal, I think a lot of people were. I mean, that was the heyday of Opeth, if you will. Now that they've gone a little bit, almost not a little bit, they've left the death metal behind. If they've gone 100% prog, a lot of people gotten off the train, if you will.
Well, that is because obviously they were those fans which listened to that kind of music, but now they probably have a different following as well that we don't know of. I mean, there are millions of there are millions of bands which are not big, but in those certain groups or certain genre of music, there are certain bands which are so big that we have never even heard of, and they sell out places, so which we don't know of. So, I mean, certain niche market is present there in the world that we don't know of. So basically that's happened with Opeth is when they shifted their platform, which I don't know like why and so on. I don't know much about Opeth anyways. I think they just maybe access to a different fan base, and that's pretty much what Opeth is about nowadays. And they are cashing still on the old school fans that they have.
I mean, they still play the old songs. It's not like if you go see them live, they don't play them. So, technically, if you go see them live, you get a little bit of everything.
Right. I mean, that's the other thing.
By the way, somebody just mentioned Sultans of Swing. That is, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite Dire Straits song.
Brothers in Arm is my favorite of all times.
When I was a kid, I wanted to wear a bandana so I could look like Mark Knopfler.
Oh.
Like the bandana, like.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, big Dire Straits fan. I've never got a chance to see them live though. The tickets are, I would have to sell a kidney and whore myself in order to be able to afford tickets for Dire Straits. I can probably make
Shit.
enough money on the kidney. I don't know about whoring, but definitely on the kidney. But anyways, so let me recap for you. Sabaton, Volbeat, Opeth. What's
Third
next?
one. Certain people I know in this band have been close. We have known each other. No offense, yet again. Amaranthe.
Wow, interesting.
As you may call it, or Amaranth. That's a band I just don't get.
What about it you don't like? The fact that it's multiple singers, the style, like the more pop vibe to their sound?
It's just, I think it's a bit of a nostalgic feeling back then as well, because we belonged to the same record label also, and knowing those guys, we had great times together. I mean, there's no question about that. We played some shows together as well, and hung out together. We have a very close relationship, indirect relationship with the band as well. So there's that nostalgia, and that was one of the reasons I keep myself.
Hold on a second.
Hello world, you are just left with me.
Diane just fell down the stairs. If you heard a thump, that's what it was.
Who?
Diane just fell down the stairs.
What the hell?
Yeah, I heard a huge thump. Like, I was like, what the fuck happened? So.
Is she alright?
I'm sure she's fine.
Stop that, don't ask me.
I mean, if she had been drinking, I could like, okay, at least she was drinking. But no, like, how do you fall that? Anyways. Anyhow, sorry about that.
Happened, Pedro. Come on.
Salo just asked, are you okay? Yeah, she's fine. Her ego is a little bruised, and I'm sure her bum probably a little bit too as well.
Oh, come on, Pedro. Knock it off already. Come on.
Oh, God. Avatar. I love Avatar. Like, man, I really love Avatar. One of my favorite bands to go see live, actually. I love their live show, and I love the band. Big fan of Avatar.
And you're saying that you like Avatar and their music, and then you have problems with Devin Townsend's music?
Yeah, but what? The two have nothing to do with each other. I mean.
Well, it's very Devin-based music, anyways.
No.
Oh yeah.
Okay, just because. Okay, that's like saying anything. That's just like saying because I don't like pizza, I don't like bread. Pizza is made with bread. That doesn't mean I don't like bread. The two are two different things.
Pizza with pineapple, yes or no?
Yes. It is what it is, man. I love Hawaiian pizza. That's what we call it, Hawaiian pizza. I love Hawaiian pizza.
Oh my God, man. All right.
Well, okay, so after Amaranth, what's your number 5?
I'm thinking about it. It's like, it's really hard. It's like, give me some names.
I'll give you some.
Oh!
What?
One band, but we already have a clash with them. I just don't want to give them a single bit of airtime, so forget about it.
Somebody asked about Epica. I like Epica.
They're alright, they're good friends.
Yeah, I like Epica. Somebody said that I'm savage. No, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, she fell down. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, there's nothing I can do. She's fine. She didn't break anything. Whatever. So, yeah. By the way, I don't know if you guys... a funny story about last time she fell down. It wasn't this time. That was the previous time. She went in the garage to grab something to drink, and she fell in the garage. And I heard this huge thump in the garage. So I was like, what the fuck is happening in the garage? So I opened the door. I see her on the floor. And I just closed the door, and I came back inside, and I sat down, and now I watch TV. And then when she came back in, he goes, "You're not even asking me if I was okay. I fell in the garage. I could have been dead in there." It's like, listen, I just came back to pause the show and rewind because I didn't want to miss like the episode that I was watching, and and then I'll go back and check on you. Everything in its due time.
Jesus. Okay.
Well, Hawaiian pizza was invented in Canada. I didn't know about that. I love Hawaiian pizza. I love pineapple on
No
pizza.
wonder Canadians are fucking weird.
Coming from the guy who, by the way, who's the fifth band? You haven't even said the fifth band.
we were just talking about. Give me a name.
I can throw a couple of names at you. What about Metal De Facto?
A fun band to watch live. Fun guys. I know them very well. Good stuff.
I don't know. What about Thyro? Because Thyro, man, every time I heard them, like they're kind of shitty.
Singer throws me off, somehow. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I don't mind the singer on Thyro. For me, it's Everfrost. The singer in Everfrost, that guy, I just like, he doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. He sounds like he's singing from his testicles. I mean, it's just like, it's horrible.
Shit. Oh, God. Okay, so what else? What else would be on the radar?
No,
I
by
don't
the
know.
way,
Like
she didn't drink. She was just coming down the stairs, playing on her cell phone, lost her footing, and the good thing is she has a lot of junk in her trunk, so she's fine.
Oh my God, Pedro, knock it off. Okay, I'm gonna open up Spotify and let's see if I put metal, which
What do
bands
you
do
think of
this.
Monster Magnet? Do you know Monster Magnet?
By name, yes. Haven't heard a single song. Probably I've heard it like on the radio or somewhere. Like, but
I'm trying to think of some bands. I'm trying to think of bands that are really like I said. That. What about Disturbed?
I like them. I used to hate them the first time I heard them. Same was with Korn. Same was with Children of Bodom. Same was with a lot of bands that I really, really, really love. And yeah, Disturbed was one of them. The first time I really heard them, I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? And it became one of my favorite bands, yes.
I mean, they're down with the sickness. I don't know if they're down with COVID, but they're definitely down with the sickness. What about Slipknot?
Love them. Was a fan the moment I hated it the moment I heard it for the first time. But then the album Sick just took me into another world. And that was till today. I love that album and love the band.
I like Slipknot as well.
Every step that they take, I really appreciate it, and I'm behind them. Definitely.
So somebody mentioned Behemoth. I mean, Behemoth, Nightwish, Gojira, Lamb of God, Blind Guardian, Amorphis. None of those bands are. I mean, all of those bands are great. Like, there's nothing bad to say about any of those bands. So.
Right. I mean, that wouldn't be a band that I would put in this 5 list. Absolutely none of them.
Benighted. Their new album. The new album slaps hard. Harder than my mother when I didn't listen to her.
Which band?
Benighted. They're from France.
Don't even know.
Oh, the new album is amazing. It's amazing.
Oh my God! Look at your beautiful metal covers, and the first picture shows up is of Trivium.
There's nothing wrong with Trivium. I keep telling you that. It's like.
Okay.
There's gonna be one with Trivium, and there's not enough Trivium.
There's gonna be a very
Baby Metal. What's your thoughts on Baby Metal? That's a good one. Loreline, great one. Baby Metal.
Baby Metal.
I don't like Baby Metal at all. At all.
I don't get it. It's a made product to just sell. It's like fucking Burger King. Burger King is better.
By the way, somebody mentioned Wada. Wada is amazing. I saw them live. I know most of the guys on the band. Amazing band, studio and live, just absolutely amazing. Benighted is brutal. The new album is absolutely insanity. Really good album. But Baby Metal, listen. We talked about this earlier on the stream. There's not much for me musically. There's not much that's coming out of Japan that I really like. I mean, if we're gonna be honest here, I'm not even a fan of Japanese porn because they blur all the proper shots get blurred, right? So even that doesn't do it for me. So I mean, perhaps the only band that I really like coming out of Japan is I like Giza. I really like those guys. They're really good guys, and I really like them. And I like Maximum the Hormone. That's probably out of the top of my head the only 2 bands out of Japan that I really like.
Yeah, I have my 5th band.
Oh.
Monuments.
Ah, fuck. Seriously, what's wrong with Monuments?
Singer. Which has left the band, who has left the band, by the way, or whatever has happened. But Monuments is something that threw me off so much because of the vocalist. I love their composition and everything. Great band. Just the vocalist throws me off.
Somebody just said that I'm really into porn. I mean, who isn't? I mean, seriously, who isn't? I mean, come on.
That's another.
We all need oxygen to survive. Like, come on. Anyways, what I was gonna say is, are you a fan of metalcore though? Like, are you a fan of that genre?
Metalcore. If we put metalcore, I might know a couple of songs that I like.
So, like, I'll give you some examples of metalcore bands, like Trivium, Monuments, Architects, Heaven Shall Burn. I guess you could put them in that category. Kind of tough to put them in that category, but I guess you could.
With a black metal logo that makes no sense. Yes.
Like who else? While She Sleeps.
Actually, these metalcore bands have the most weirdest fucking names on this planet.
Monuments, Architects, they all have like really.
As I Lay Dying, and then what?
Yeah, As I Lay Dying is another one.
While She Sleeps, and then what? Heaven shall burn, and then what?
I don't know, but you could say that about almost everything.
Not really.
Oh God.
You can't say anything about Black Sabbath. You can't say anything after Iron Maiden. You can't say anything after Metallica. You can't say anything after Slayer.
Yeah, I guess. So you're not a fan of bands that have names that they're like question marks, right?
I certainly know everybody might go berserk on it. That's another band that throws me off because of the vocalist, At the Gates.
Oh, there's one, At the Gates, and then what? Once you get there, then what?
Then Heaven Shall Burn.
What a nice sequence. I love that.
Check this out. Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh, I don't like that band at all. Oh.
While She Sleeps. Okay, put them in one sentence now. Bring Me the Horizon. While She Sleeps. At the Gates. Heaven Shall Burn. And bands like these. You can make sentences out of these bands' names. Like, literally.
I mean, but that's the new way of doing things. It's the new school. We're just old school people. We want simple names. By the way, I think since today is Saturday, yesterday one of my favorite albums so far of 2020 came out yesterday. Global Warning from Turmion Katilot. Have you checked it out yet?
Yes, I know the band. I have listened to the material. It's interesting. Not a fan of their music, but they're quite big in this country.
Oh, they're big in this house.
Oh, okay.
Right. We're huge fans of the band. I really love the new album, and it's really cool. Actually, we did a promo for them. They asked us to do a little bit of a promo for their new album. So Antonio and I, we did a little vignette promo for their new album. So it was really cool for them to ask us to do that. It was I was stoked that we got to participate in a promo for Turmion Katilot. And by the way, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but there's a 90% chance we will be in one of their videos coming up sometime later in the year, early next year. So
that's super cool.
Yeah. I mean, all the hard work of me trying to get into somebody's video is finally paying off.
Finally.
The quest for cowbell is continuing, but because I don't think there's enough cowbell in metal these days.
That's the biggest point. Like that's the thing that is missing the most. I think people need to really bring that cowbell back.
Somebody's asking you, what do you think about the band called Orphan Land? I don't know if you know them or not.
From Israel.
From Israel, yeah.
the silence should say it all.
Oh, you're not a fan?
It's like let me put it this way: the band that has done well with the style, it's Mirat.
Yeah. That's
Done
another.
great. That is absolutely done great because that is a band that is understood. Of course, they are from, Middle Eastern world. So is Orphanland. And the thing with Orphanland is this: that it's just it. When I saw them live as well, it just threw me off again. Like it just didn't look like the band, the representation of the band as it was. And then you see them live, and you're like, okay. Again, the singer has kind of threw me off a little bit as well. I have problems with the singers. Well, me being a vocalist as well,
Yeah,
I'm not.
one thing that me and Antonio learned from the time that we've spent together last summer in Finland with you is that you're very critical of singers and guitar players. But I think that's normal because that's what you do.
Correct. And we agreed on the fact that I would not be the one sitting with you guys to do the reaction videos, but I think that could be great.
No, we already decided that we're going to be doing the porn channel thing. So let's not ruin a good thing.
No. But like that was the discussion that because I was so critical and so on, it just made things like, oh shit, like oh my god, like. But in all retrospect, but with respect as well. Like I don't want to piss off the bands or so on. It's just my personal opinion, and I'm not a god here. That if I say something, the end of the world and so on. And people literally don't have to listen to me. They need to listen to their own ear. Basically, that if it reflects them and it attracts them, why not?
I got two topics to run by you. One is a question specifically for you. And the question is, what are your thoughts on Neo Obliviscaris? Did you guys become good friends after the US tour?
Absolutely. I have been in touch with, I would say, most of them. Yes. Most person that I've talked to is the bass player, Martin. Martino. I call him Martin. So I just talked with him about a week ago as well regarding the situation in Italy regarding the coronavirus thing, and they were just about to make the album, and he could not fly off, and they had to cancel the Download Festival as well, which got cancelled, and they could not play and so on, and it affected their album making also. Great guys. Tim, who is the violinist and the vocalist, amazing vocalist, amazing violinist, great guy. Great times. My opinion about that band is good on them.
That band, I liked that band before I saw them with Wintersun in 2018. The few songs that we had done on the channel I dig, but it wasn't a band that really had grown on me. When I went to see Wintersun, man, their live show, Neo Obliviscaris live, was amazing. They really, I became a fan after that show. And by the way, I agree with you 100%. The guys, they were super nice to me and Antonio backstage, like super friendly. Zen was amazing. All the guys in the band, super friendly dudes, like really down to earth. Like I have only great things to say about the guys in Neo Obliviscaris.
Right. I mean, that's looks wise. I have problems with the bands when one guy is short haired and the other guy is super long hair. Then the other guy is completely like explosion happened. Like most of the time, it has happened with me, which I hated. I hate myself many times on stage because this thing does not stay in one place, and it literally looks like as if like Bob Marley had a child with Eddie from Tekken 3, a video game that I'm talking about. That I'm like, that's what I hate, and I tried to do something with these hair to put them down to make it look better on stage as well. So considering that, there's so much going on in Neo Obliviscaris as well. There's a blonde guy who is drummer, like not really blonde, but I consider Dan to be a little bit more blondish than all. Then the Tim is there. Then Zen is there, complete straight black hair.
Yeah, vampire.
So there's a lot of things going on, but that looks like a unit. To me, it looks like what it represents. I mean, this is a modern wave of the music that they have done and they're doing. That is how Neo Obliviscaris looks like, and they represent fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. Their sound, the eclecticness of their sound is represented in the eclecticness of their personalities on stage.
Correct.
I see it that way. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about or ask you about is, I don't know if you've heard about this, Moon Sorrow. They had announced the tour, I think was last year. I'm almost sure it was last year. And they were supposed to go on a tour with another band from Estonia. And that band from Estonia is known as White Supremacist Band.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Have you heard that news? Somebody sent me a news clip of that because they knew I'm a fan of Moon Sorrow. So they sent me that and say, oh, how do you feel about them now? They're taking this band on tour and these guys are white supremacists from Estonia.
The thing is that I have known the singer very well of that band.
Which one, Moon Sorrow or the Estonian band?
Oh, the band that we are talking about. The band's name is called Loits, Loits. And now the thing is that is very political band. Used to be, regarding their vocal approach towards representing the ideology behind Estonia. So the band is Estonian, and Estonia has been under the regime of the USSR. And as well at the same time, not at the same time, but like under the hoods of Nazis as well. So they mostly talk about the times that they had better with Nazis than they had with the USSR. That's what I know about. So because they, praised Nazis era being better than the USSR era, they are considered to be white supremacists. What the fuck? That's nuts. So just because they had better time being ruled by Nazis than USSR makes them become like Nazis as well doesn't make any sense. So this is my representation of that band. I don't know that band's lyrics that deeply, and I know the guy who has written them. That's not the case. So even Moon Sorrow was considered as white supremacists as well, while, excuse me, we have been friends since a long time, so look at me. If you can become friend with me, how the fuck can you be a white supremacist? I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, sometimes things just get distorted, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. You have to take things for what it is these days, and everybody's always looking at an angle or something like that. But it is what it is. You can't. By the way, Salo's saying he's really sad that we're hating on his people. We're not hating on his people.
Why are we hating on his people? When did we hate on his people?
I don't know.
Us?
I don't know.
Is he drunk?
I think he's drunk.
Right up. Okay.
When is Salo not drunk? Salo's always drunk.
Oh man. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I consider, like, there are so many bands which are out there nowadays which are taken so wrong because they say one thing. And even out of this live stream, if it goes somewhere, I'm pretty sure that there might be some words that are taken out of our context as well and presented as like, oh yeah, we promote child pornography. Where the fuck did we say that?
Oh fuck, we didn't say that. Next thing you know, people are gonna say that I've been shitting on Five Finger Death Punch. I'm sure those guys will never talk to me. Well, I mean, I would never want to talk to them anyways. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
That's the other thing that I had a problem with Five Finger Death Punch. But the fact that I have really, really enjoyed their guitar work, their musicianship. What Five Finger Death Punch has is the weirdest vocalist. That's the other thing as well that throws me off. But their songs, some of the songs are really, really cool. But now I have a controversial band to ask of you about. Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh, man. Avenged Sevenfold to me. Okay, Avenged Sevenfold to me is like... man. I've seen Avenged Sevenfold...
My side.
Huh?
I'll tell you my side. What happened with me was I hated that band because my cousin used to listen to it a lot. And I was like, what the hell? This is what is this? Circus music made into metal. That sometimes I feel like with Avatar, for instance. Anyways. Then the album came Nightmare. And for me, that's amazing album. That's really
good.
Done. That's really well done.
That one in Hail to the King. Hail to the King is really good too. I like it.
I don't know. I mean, like that.
To me, Avenged Sevenfold is a band that I enjoy. Um, I've seen them live twice. Once as a headliner. I like Avenged Sevenfold. I just don't necessarily like the people who like Avenged Sevenfold. Does that make sense to you?
Why? What's up with the
So,
people?
some of the fans of the band, I'm not a fan of the fans. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I like the band, but I don't know.
Okay. I think I do get your vibe. There's certain kind of okay, but I don't know. I don't know what kind of people. Yeah, they had that stigma as well. They were really weird goth mixture of steampunk, mixture of everything, mixture of whatever. That was the kind of style of
Yeah,
fan.
somebody's asking. Laureline is asking you taking notes. He's writing the next song for Time 2. uh,
Inspiration. There are so many different ways of getting inspired, so this is one of them.
that is true. You realize we've been here for almost 2 hours chatting, so we gotta call it a day in the next. Let's give it another 5 minutes. So
Sure.
another 5 minutes, we'll call it a day. We'll do this again sometime soon. We'll add Salo into the mix, and who we should have on our next little chat, on our next live stream. We should have Sammy, because he's releasing a solo project.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I really want to pick his brain and ask him a few questions about that. So that would be interesting. Talk to him a little bit about his solo stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, that guy, that's a gentleman.
Yeah, you know what? I've met so many people since we've started this YouTube channel, and I've met a lot of people through you, and Semi's kind of like an in between you and Mikel Salo. I don't want to take that away from Salo, otherwise he's gonna slice his wrists tonight. And I'm gonna say one of the most likable gentlemen in the world of metal. Like, he's just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
There's no question about it. Yes. That was the first time when we met. Was in 2000 and I think 2010 was the first time that we met. And damn, he was my favorite person. Like, he is just phenomenal. Always nice, caring, very like a gentleman, like a proper lord.
Yeah, I agree 100%. People are asking about Yari, if we can get Yari on a live stream. I mean, he's busy. They're recording right now, time 2 version 0.2, the Gargling of Time 1 song. So that takes time.
So I mean, I did my parts. So now Yari is busy with doing his part. So that's why I was available. So he was busy working. So.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are. Everybody knows you. Wintersun announced that you had those shows at 70,000 tons, and you guys said you were going to take. I mean, you guys were ahead of the curve. You said you were going to take the rest of the year off, and turns out everybody's taking the rest of the year off, anyways.
Well, after all, we're trendsetters, so.
Yeah, I agree. So let's. Last time I talked to Yadi, I don't want to put things in his mouth, but last time I talked to him was around the time of 70,000 tons, was just before that. When he released that video where there was a little bit of a hint of a new track, and I don't know if you remember the video that he put out on his channel. Do you remember? He did a video playing guitar. Anyways, that's not important.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, could it be that one? Yeah. Right. Now I remember. Of course,
that was when he was playing and showing some of the tuning and that kind of stuff.
Right. Now I get it. Yes,
and then he included a little piece of a unreleased song there as a little caveat. He threw it in there, So yeah, so that was the last time I talked to him, and I asked him about when the next record. I didn't ask him about Time 2 because, to be honest with you, I don't even know at this point if there's ever going to be a Time 2. But I asked him about it and about a time frame, and he kind of gave me a loose time frame of when he expects it. So for the sake of everybody who's going to be alive after coronavirus, I hope that comes true.
So
did you notice? I didn't say what the timeline was. I just said he gave me a timeline, and that's it. I'm not saying anything else.
right, exactly. That's why
I'm walking away from that. I'm not saying anything else. I'm not saying anything else.
But one thing I can say that definitely we are hard at work. I mean, it's not that now the quarantine has happened and because of the quarantine everybody is inside, so we have more time to really work on things and so on. No, it's not a day goes by that guy is working on things. So he is really working hard, and it's not. There's a reason why people made the crowdfunding happen possible and successful, and there's no question that the standards are met in that sense. So the work is constant, and it's not that we are just taking our time off and sitting back and not doing anything.
No, exactly. I mean, I know the guy's working hard. That I know for a fact. And like I said, he kind of gave me. I tried to be as clever as I could to try to get a timeline out of him. But as you know, like it's hard to get any information out of Yachty, right? So I tried different angles with different questions and stuff. And he gave me something. He gave me hope, at least. He gave me a timeline. So I'm happy with that timeline, and I just got to sit back and wait, and that's that. I mean, it's listen. It would make no sense right now for any band unless you already have an album scheduled to come out. Like, why would you release an album right now? It would make just no sense whatsoever. If I was preparing an album or working on an album, I would be looking at, spring, summer of 2021 to release my album. That's what I would look at if I'm a band that I don't have anything scheduled right now, because I want to be able to release the album and then promote the album, go on the road and tour and do the things that I need to do to pay the bills. We said this at the beginning of the stream. Bands that are releasing albums now, they're really in a tough spot, because you release the album now, you can't promote the album, you can't go on a tour, you can't do nothing. If you go on a tour summer of 2021, nobody remembers your album anymore in the summer of 2021.
You're an old story, kind of.
Yeah, you were almost forced to maybe not release another album, but at least release an EP, something. You know what I mean? To kind of get the buzz going again, to get the attention going again, to get things happening again. You have to. You almost have to.
Right. No, as I said in the beginning of the stream as well, that the business module towards for the whole music industry has completely shifted, and everybody needs to start thinking out of the box. If you can't, difficult times are ahead of you. So if you're just doing it for the heck of it, unfortunately because of this the unfortunate events that are happening right now as well, of the festivals being cancelled, and we don't even know what's going to happen at the end of the year as well. Like, if the end of the years there would be some tours that's going to happen as well. So everybody is like at the blink of would it happen or not happen? Should we announce it or not announce it? Is there's a point to do it as well? Certain bands which are very big names, they had to just literally call it off, the whole tour. Same thing happened with Insomnium, unfortunately, and Omnium Gatherum as well. First show done, next day, New York, sold out show, boom, canceled, fly back.
Yeah, I mean, that tour, the whole tour was almost sold out every single venue. It's a shame.
So things like that. So for the bands which have already planned everything to release this year are already in trouble, because obviously they can't go on the road and promote it. So have to find the other ways, this way or that.
All right, and on that note, we're calling this a day. We'll do this again in a couple of weeks, but the next time it won't be a surprise pop-up one. We'll announce it ahead of time. We'll try to work some guests, bring some guests in, and by guests I don't mean just me and Antonio, but I mean we'll try to get some guests added to this. So me, Asim, Antonio, and maybe another guest or so. And we'll do this again, because this was more of us trying out this stream platform that I'm trying out, and I think it works.
I mean, that's what the feedback would tell you about, but I think that it has been clear. And as I've been using Skype for a long period of time, like the other platform before had slight issues.
Yeah, this one's more straightforward. Using it this way is more straightforward. I think it's easier. This is the first time we're trying it on YouTube, because normally in the past our holiday live streams we do them only on Facebook. So this was a nice test run. It was fun. I had a blast. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking the time to do this with me today. And
thank you for inviting. Indeed.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody said that we should get Yuka on it. Maybe that's not a bad idea.
Sure, why not? Hell yeah.
I'll send him
That'd
a
be great.
message, and Asim can send him a message as well. We can bang him on both ends. And no, that didn't sound good. Okay, I take that back. That didn't sound good. We'll try to get him. Yeah, we can get a few people on the stream. We can do something fun. And since we're all in quarantine anyways, might as well do something to help pass the time.
Hey, I might have a name for our website. It could be Porn-teen.
Ooh, no, but that sounds like teenager kind of thing. Porn-teen, you know.
Oh shit! I take it back.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. It's all legal.
It's huge. It's going to be huge. All right, guys. Thank you very much for everybody that watched and everybody that popped in with their questions, with their comments. We love you guys. Thank you very much for spending these couple of hours with us. And next time we do this, I promise I'll give everybody a heads up, and we'll get some more guests, and we'll have this chat again soon.
Certainly. Well, thank you for having me, and thanks to everybody who tuned in. Indeed.
Oh,